Hey guys, Ike here from Mike'sOutdoors.com. I'm here today to do a review on the Matrix AR-15. Okay, so before we get started, this has been cleared. It is not loaded, and I have taken the magazine out of this. So this weapon is clear, and it is safe to be handling and talking about. As a lot of you guys know, I am not an AR guy. If you follow me on Facebook, on Instagram, I had an AR a few years back that I had nothing but trouble with. And like anything, like a normal person, I blamed that one AR on... I blamed the problems that I was having with that one AR. I assumed that I was going to have those problems with every AR that I ever shot. So, I just was not an AR guy based on my bad experience with that one AR. But given the current political climate and the current climate of the gun world and how hard it is to get hold of things and how the prices keep going up, I wanted to get an AR for home defense, and I wanted to get an AR for my son, who likes to shoot this kind of stuff, and the 223 is really good for the low recoil. He really likes to shoot the 223s. So I decided to go ahead and give it a try again and go out and get one. So I found this Matrix AR at a local gun shop. They got these in with no boxes, no manuals. I'm not sure exactly how they got a hold of them, but they were basically scratch and dent type of ARs. So I bought this basically just like it is without the scope, and got it for a really good price in the current market. I paid $669 for this thing with tax, or plus tax. So that's actually a pretty good price for the current AR market. And I was kind of hesitant to buy it, but I thought I'd go ahead and give it a try and see what I can do. And actually, this has made me an AR guy. Now that I own this Matrix, now I want another one. Now I want one for home defense. I want one for long range. I want one for fun. I want an AR pistol. So this has made me into an AR guy. So we're going to run over the specs of this. We'll show you me shooting this thing. I've put 500-600 rounds through this thing so far, and I'll be straight up front with you. I had 3 jams with it, and those 3 jams were my fault. I'm doing my own reloading, and when I checked the bullets that I had, I had run a magazine through that I had loaded up for my bolt gun, and the shoulders just were not pushed back far enough for these ARs, so it caused it to go up and catch and jam. The other magazines that I loaded up that were specifically loaded for these ARs, zero problems. I've had no problems with any of those. So I have had 3 jams with this, but those were 100% completely my fault from a reloading standpoint. And every piece of ammo that I have run through this thing has been reloaded ammo that I'm loading myself. And it has run just fine, absolutely fine on the ones that were specifically loaded up and specifically set to the spec for this AR-15. So let's run over the specs of this thing, and then we'll show you some of the range time that we put in with it. Okay, so this is a 5.56, and it is a 5.56 223. This does have the rear charging handle on it, so we have the charging handle here. I've got to do something different on my scope. You can tell I'm not an AR guy because I do not have a short scope, but there is the rear charging handle right there. And I just don't have a short scope, and I don't have the mounts tall enough to get this thing high enough to get out of the way of that rear charging handle. So it is a little bit hard to get to with that scope on there. I'm going to order a little bit shorter scope and something that is a little bit different. This is basically a hunting scope that's on here. But with this scope on here, we were ringing steel out to 400 yards on a really windy day. With this 16-inch barrel, I was really impressed with that. So back to the spec. So this is a rear charging handle. This is all mil-spec. This is all anodized black, and anodizing on this is pretty good. It does have, like I said, this was a dent and ding sale, and it's got a couple spots on it, but they're down to the aluminum, so this was handled pretty rough from the looks of things, and it's still in really good shape as far as the finish goes. So the finish is pretty good on this thing. Like I said, everything is mil-spec. Both the lower and the upper are 70-75 T6 aluminum. The pins on this, the takedown pins, are your standard 250 takedown pins. It has the 156 fire control pin. So everything on this is standard mil spec sizes. This has the 1919 Picatinny rail on the top, which I have my scope mounted to. So I had no trouble putting my scope on this Picatinny rail. I also have some 45-degree offset iron sights on there. Had no trouble loading or putting those on here. The front has a key mod grip on it. So this is the Matrix handguard. This is a 15-inch handguard. It is free floated, and like I said, has the key mod on here. I haven't put any accessories on this key mod yet. I like the idea of the key mod. I'm going to get an angled foregrip and put on here, and maybe a light. I don't know. It depends on what I set this thing up for, but I'm definitely going to get an angled foregrip on here. And I like the key mod setup just because it's something that I'm familiar with. I use the key mod setup sometimes at work. You know, being a machinist, I'll do a lot of key mods or the keyholes when I'm doing stuff like that. So I kind of like that key mod setup. Some people may not. But this is also a 6061 aluminum extrusion. So it's a pretty good quality extruded aluminum and should be pretty durable and pretty tough. So that also, down on the end here, it has a half 28. I'm sure you guys can see that. This has a half 28 standard A2 flash suppressor. These also have a 16-inch barrel on here. This one is a chrome barrel. It also has a black one on it. I literally just grabbed the first one that was on the shelf, and it had the chrome barrel on it. Didn't seem to make much of a difference for me versus the black. So this is the 16-inch barrel. It has a 1 in 8 twist, so it will shoot some of the lighter stuff. 1 in 8 is a really good do-all type of twist for your barrel. I've been able to shoot 55 grain full metal jackets out of this and had no issues with that. That's about the only size that I've tried with this thing, and it has worked flawlessly. Like I said, we were ringing steel out to 400 yards with this little 16-inch barrel. On the back here, it has your Hogue grip, which is a really nice grip. I like the texturing to it, and it has your adjustable butt stock, which is standard on an AR-15. It also comes with PMags, so I was pretty happy to see it comes with a PMag, because the last gun it came with some really crappy magazines, and I think that was the issue that I had with that gun not working properly. So now that we've talked about the specs on this thing, we'll put in some range time here and show you me and my son Jacob out shooting this thing.
I think that one was a hit.
Huh?
Which one are you shooting at?
The white one?
Oh.
Ah, you're hitting high and left. Yep, high and left. Wind's probably pushing it left.
Yeah. This is fun to shoot.
Good. Okay, so you can see there we had no issues shooting this thing, and like I said, we were putting up really good groups with this thing, and we're hitting steel at 200 yards and hitting steel out to hitting the 10 ring on 200 yards, but hitting steel at 300 and 400 yards. I couldn't quite hit it at 500 yards, but the wind was blowing 10 to 15 miles an hour from our right to our left, so it was really pushing that light grain 55 grain bullet around. But this thing has made me a believer in ARs again. I mean, it is fun to shoot. It is fun to modify. I mean, it's got me thinking about what I can do to it and things like that. And I don't want to be that AR guy, but it's got me thinking about what I can do to it and how I can modify it and things like that. And before, I just hated ARs. You know, the last one I had was such a bad experience. I just hated them. So this Matrix AR-15 has really turned my opinion of an AR around. And I really want to learn more about them, really want to shoot more with them, and really I want 2 or 3 because I want one. I like this one with the scope on it just to shoot long range, and I want one with you know, a red dot or something like that for home defense. I'd also like to have a pistol that's just to play around with. So it has really changed my opinion of AR-15s. And I hadn't seen much on it. I mean, I bought this on a blind, basically a leap of faith because the price was good. So it does come with P-mags. I wanted to show you, I have bought several mags for it. I've got 6 mags now. I bought a couple more P-mags for it, aftermarket Gen 2 P-mags. No problems with those. I also bought some MFT mags, I believe. Yeah, these are MFT Mod 2s, and had no issues with these. You'll see in some of the shooting videos that it had a couple of these in there in some of the clips we showed you of us shooting. So no issues with it shooting as far as those 2 mags as well. And one of the mags I shot with it was a Min 2 mag that a friend had, and it shot that one just fine as well. So it doesn't seem like it's having an issue with any of the different mags besides P-mags that I have shot with these things so far. So this is a really nice rifle, and it is made by Matrix. They make a lot of lowers and pieces like that. This is their first and only rifle that is on the market right now. But I'm really impressed with it. Really like it, and I really like the functionality and design. It seems like it's a pretty good, durable rifle, and it has held up to the 300-400 rounds that I have put through it flawlessly. So check this out. We'll put a link below to this thing, and as always, if you want to, check us out on social media, and we will put a link to our Patreon account if you'd like to follow us on Patreon. We do have a Patreon account, so if you'd like to follow us on there or support the show, support the channel through Patreon, there is a Patreon link in the description below, as well as a link to this firearm Matrix AR-15's website. You can check that out there. And as always, we appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you next time.